Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Nola Gregory, Community and Aboriginal Development Officer for the City of Greater Georgian. We're coming to you from the Queen's Park Theatre. Because of social distancing, the theatre has been closed down. We're celebrating National Reconciliation Week with this year's theme, We're in this together. And we've got a few people that we're going to introduce you to along the way. But before we do this, I would like to respectfully acknowledge the Yamatji peoples, who are the traditional owners and first peoples of the land on which we are meeting today, the Ngarrindjeri, Willinyu, Amangu and Ngadja peoples. I would like to pay my respects to the elders, past, present and future, for they hold the memories and traditions, the culture and hopes of the Yamatji peoples. So this year's theme is all about Aboriginal people and non-Aboriginal people walking together and starting a journey recognising Aboriginal people's culture and our past history. So that's the reason behind this year's theme, In This Together. And as some people out there would know, I usually write poems about the themes for National Reconciliation Week and Naidoc Week. So this poem is called In This Together. We are all in this together, so let the journey begin. Open up your minds and take a look deep within. Now is a healing time between black man and white. Let's uncover hard truths, make all our wrongs right. The wounds of our history together we will share. Start with understanding, with pride and with care. Collectively build relationships with value and trust. Futures, histories and cultures are a definite must. We are all in this together, our Aussie nation so vast. The healing of our future must start with our past. I stand with you, you stand with me, I learn from you, you learn from me. Next one I'd like to read for you is Corroboree. About 1992 to 1995, I worked in the Kimberley, in both the West Kimberley and the East Kimberley. I was the personal assistant for PDU, who was with the Kimberley Land Council. Their head office at that time was based in Derby. So when I was up there, I was looked after by all of the old people. A lot of them have gone on and passed away now, but they looked after me really well while I was up there. Some of them I didn't even know were my own family that we've reconnected with just recently. So this is about them. They had a big meeting out at, that I was fortunate enough to attend out at Willair on the other side of the bridge. And every night after the meetings, they would do big corroborees. And I tell you, until you see it in its natural environment, you haven't seen anything. So that's what this poem is about. It's called Corroboree. I can hear the chanting of the language loud and clear. I can hear them singing without prejudice or fear. And the dust slowly rises to the sound of stomping feet. It's like a pulse inside me. I feel each and every beat. Proudly they are dancing to an ancient, age-old song, adorned with precious ochre as they move and sing along. The old men sit cross-legged in the red pindan dust, tapping sticks and boomerangs, beating strong and robust. There is no explanation for what I feel inside. As I stand there watching, I am full of Aboriginal pride. The freedom on their faces is a sight to behold. As they stamp their feet, you can hear the storylines unfold. Their voices are so haunting as you listen to them sing. Rising on the swirling winds, it's the most powerful thing. I am mesmerised by the dancers as they jump and twirl and grind. It's something that has stuck with me. It's emblazoned on my mind. truly a memorable time up there in Derby and working with the Kimberley Land Council. A couple of years ago, we had a theme for Naidoc called Truth Telling, and that's what this poem is all about. It's called Truth Telling. Take a trip with me, a journey. Let's walk across the pages of time and open up the conversation of long ago historical crimes. Together, let us face the truth-telling from the broken and mournful hearts. Sit and listen as we teach you of our buried, ghostly past. Don't shy away from learning of our ancestors' suffering and shame. Let's remember them with dignity, not finger-pointing and blame. And together we can heal old wounds that have festered for far too long. Admitting that it really happened, we must right the terrible wrongs. So open wide the files of old, take a look at what's inside. The stories will be confronting, but they are stories we must not hide. If we want to heal this nation from the trauma of the past, we must start the truth-telling, reveal the secrets that are hard to grasp. Then together we will face it as you learn and as you grow. How we got to where we stand is a truth we all must know. Hearing our history is necessary. It's something we will not hide. It is the only way forward for genuine healing on both sides. Just got a couple more to read to you. This one is titled Apology, and in 2008, on the 5th, I think it was the 8th of February actually, the 8th of February 2008, the then Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, officially apologised in Parliament to the stolen generations. Now, as some people know, my grandmother was a stolen generation. She was taken away from her country, Kidja country, and never ever returned there, never met her family again, never saw her mother and father again. She lived all her life on a mission, grew up there, and when she left, she came to Jordan, and that's where she lived, in her adopted country. So this is about the apology. In silence, you have suffered, your pain locked deep inside. You fought so long for this, and still you kept your pride. The tears of all the mothers for their children they did cry, their broken hearts and memory etched in the children's eyes. Born of a strong, proud people, never would you forget the anguish and the burdens. Now your life had all been set. But the yearning was still a part of you. You just did not feel right. Something here was missing, and you knew you had to fight. And fight you did throughout the years to parliaments, pollies and all. How could you make them listen? Would they heed your heartfelt calls? All you wanted was an apology, not thinking it would take so long. And sorry was just one little word, was asking for this so wrong. A flood of overwhelming emotions will be felt on this memorable day, and those who have gone before us in spirit will lead the way. The stolen generations will stand with hands on hearts, and today the tears flow freely, and this is just the start. You heard me speak about my grandmother. Her name was Minnie Daly. As I said, she came from Kidja country up in Turkey Creek area, and I wrote a poem about her. Sometimes I wish that I could just sit cross-legged on the floor with her and wish that she was there, that I could talk to her and learn her story. She was a very proud woman, and this is what this is about. It's actually about her mother and what happened to her mother, and it'll the story should tell itself. It's called Blood in the Kidja Sand. If you were still alive today and I could sit and talk with you, what would you tell me, Great Nan? Would you reveal something new? There's not much we know about you, just that of your violent death. Was there blood in the Kidja sand as you took your dying breath? We would love to learn your story to find out who you were, not just Maggie full blood, as it was written without a care. Day after day we hunger, and year after year we look, and search through worn-out pages and in every historical book. But if I could just sit and talk with you for just a little while, would you tell me your broken story? And would I be angry and wild? I know some hearts would be mended. We have cried for so very long to hear of your Kidja story to the country to which you belong. There's blood in the Kidja sand. It trickles through every grain. It's the heart cry of our fallen to a ghostly white skin stain. It is a permanent reminder of a past full of blood and heat, and it is there as proof to all that history should never repeat. Just got two more poems for you. This one's really special. It's about a lady called Granny Reese. A lot of Aboriginal people out there will know about Granny Reese. In the old days, as people know, we had reserves here in Geraldton, and Granny Reese had a house up on top of the hill, not far from the reserve on one side and Blood Alley on the other. And there was a path people used to make their way to Granny Reese's place. So this poem is dedicated to Granny Reese and all of her children, grandchildren and great-grandchildren. For years I've heard the stories of the old reserve days, when I listened to the elders talk of all the good old ways. And one of those deadly stories was about Granny Reese and all of the many visits to her old house for tea. So fondly do they talk of her and remember her lovely place, situated on the hill in Johnson Street. She would welcome many a face. There was a big old tree in the front yard with beautiful summer shade. People would sit there yarning, and that is where they stayed. It was right next door to the old reserve, and the track is still there today. People would walk along it to Blood Alley just over the way. Then up to Granny Reese's place they would wander for a look to see what was happening at Granny's welcoming nook. I can remember that old place up on the hill, many years of walking down to the foreshore, walking down to the front beach, sitting down there with fish and chips, sharing them with sisters and brothers and going for a swim on hot days. And we would walk past Granny's place on the way to the front beach downtown. Okay, folks, the last poem I've got for you today is a Naidoc poem. And this year's theme for Naidoc is always was, always will be. So that's what the poem is titled. Our story begins at the dawn of time. A proud race of people, strong cultural bloodlines. Woven into our land, our footprints remained, deeply connected and spiritually ingrained. In this, our mother, both land and sea, connections continued through our strong history. For thousands of years we lived our lives, thriving on country. We learnt to survive. Explorers and navigators and engineers we are, farmers and botanists and astronomers of stars, scientists, diplomats and first artists too. We built this nation, remain steadfast and true. Ancient oral histories that are strong to this day, our intimate knowledge of country and place. We endured climate change, droughts and floods, and we stand firm today as First Nations bloods. And now we invite you to our treasured space. Embrace the true history of our Australian place. Always was and always will be. Let's celebrate together First Peoples' sovereignty.